continuing to undertake consultations across the political divide on the balance of cabinet that I will appoint shortly.
Ruto is taking us into a sinking ship. And I'm urging everybody that joining Ruto is a disaster, is an abomination. It cannot work. When we say Ruto must go with all his people. The entire government must go. Nobody's going to remain there.
This country belongs to all of us, and we have to build our nation. But we can't build our nation unless we listen to each other and talk to each other. And listen, it doesn't mean just talking, but action. We have requested our head of state to consider the cries of citizens and to make life better for them. When it comes to ministries, we are telling you we don't need 22 ministries. Let's lower 22 to 18. And it will be also very painful. Tutoe mtu kama Aisha Juma, tuweke Njoo. Hao wote wanalingana.
Na sasa ni jukumu ya wabunge. Wakipitisha yeyote yule waziri, wasikize raia kwanza. Si mambo ndio hayo? Raia wakisema hivi, musitake tuende maneno ya reject finance bill. Tuseme reject sijui what. Wakisema reject hiyo muna reject. Si ndio? Wakisema waziri huyo reject, wewe una reject na tunasonga mbele. Wakenya ni 50 million. Huyo akirejectiwa tunaleta mwingine. Huyo akirejectiwa tunaleta mwingine. Mpaka tulete yule wa mwisho ambaye nyinyi wote mtakubali.
I'll urge the agencies to drive on. Make sure that the nominees, if they're not suitable to the standards set by the agencies, are rejected.
Hata hii agency pia sisi tunaheshimu nyinyi. Hilo mnasema tunasikiza. Na mumeongea agency. Na tumesikiza nyinyi. Tafadhali. Agency, my children, my sons and daughters, we have heard you. You have spoken clearly. What you have said needs no full stop or comma. It's clear. Sasa mkitoka wakora wana hijack mambo yenu. Wezi wanaanza kuiba mali ya watu, si ndio? So we want to ask the Gen Z, you have spoken, we have heard you. Please don't allow your protest to be hijacked by criminals, people with the criminal intent to steal property, to destroy property.
They cannot continue to be faceless. They cannot continue to be nameless. They cannot continue to be formless. They cannot continue to be anonymous. Let them step forward and tell us, what is this violence going to achieve in the Republic of Kenya? And what is their plan beyond this violence? Tuwezi kukubali taifa letu ni eti tuwachane na demokrasia, tuende kwa udikteta wa fujo, maafa, kuharibu mali na mambo ya kuleta anarchy katika taifa letu la Kenya. That one we will not do. We will protect our democracy. We will protect the peace and stability of our nation. And we will deal firmly and resolutely with those who are engaged in mayhem, in anarchy, in destroying people's property, in causing the death of Kenyans.
Justice must be done. We cannot kill our people. And the time when we are mourning them, we are looking for officers. That cannot happen. We must first deal with injustice.
Ati watu wafanye nchi yetu iwe ni nchi ya kupigana, ya kuharibu mali na ya fujo.
Hiyo ni kelele unatuambia.
Tutaweka amani sisi wote.
Kesho tuko na wewe.
Wangapi wanasema tuweke amani katika taifa letu la Kenya?
Kesho tuko na wewe.
Is enough, Ruto warns Gen Zs. As you can see, the president is firing from all the cylinders as it is right now. He's really blown his gasket. He's not taking any nonsense right now moving forward. This is what the publication is on the front page of the Daily Nation today. And new demos, Raila coils angry, Ruto talks tough, right? Raila coils as angry, Ruto talks tough. Gen Zs have called for a fresh round of country-wide demonstrations this week. This is what the dailies are holding this morning. And Raila this way, Raila that way in the Standard. and no cash for exams. And enough is enough. Ruto warns brave youngsters or young protesters. That is the story that you want to follow inside the People Daily. Gen Z, Munikome. Let's hear from Mwakalimulu. You've heard from the president now, and tomorrow is another day. What does it really portend with the warning of the president and saying he's not going to condone any protest anymore?
You know, when I listen to every Kenyan, could it be the Gen Zs, could it be government, could it be even us in the opposition, people are saying we want peace. So peace to me is the underlining line. And the question we should be asking ourselves is, how do we achieve peace from these different dimensions? So that as we allow the Gen Zs their space, as we allow the government the space, as we allow the opposition their space, that at the end of the day, we're able to achieve peace. That's a big question. And I think really, when the president says enough is enough, I'm just looking back at what has been happening in the last 2 weeks. You know, from where I sit, I think he had taken the right direction, that it was opening doors for people to engage. I don't know what to call it a dialogue, but engagement, so that could it be either through the X platform, could it be face-to-face, but the space for engagement had been allowed. And I think that is the most important bit. So when you say enough is enough, I hope that he's not saying that tomorrow, when the Gen Zs go to the streets, because they have given notice that they will be going to the streets. I hope we are not saying enough is enough, so that we enrich the police, the military, to the young ones. Because if that is the direction we are taking, then we will be having a problem. So I would want to see a situation where saying enough is enough will be allowing the Gen Zs to do their street demonstrations, and we provide the required security for them to do that. And communicate, because they have said it very clearly, we don't want the cabinet as already been proposed by the president, and they're giving their reasons, that from this word go, they said, get everybody out of the cabinet. And Dibao, you remember, even the fact that Mudavadi had remained after the others were shown the door, there was also some, murmuring that, why leave Mudavadi? Because to them, I think they already wanted the presidency, which is now an elective position. And then to their surprise, they see the first 11. Out of the first 11, we have 6. Those who are already serving the cabinet had been sent home. And there are only 5 new faces. So from where they sit, and I think to some extent I agree with them, is if we are saying sack everybody, and then you sack, and after sacking you bring 6 back as your first 11, then there are chances more will be coming in the second 11. On that note, the big question is, then was there need to sack the cabinet? Or did you just do it to manage the Gen Zs and the rest of Kenyans? Because you could do that just to manage the situation, so that you buy time and things cool down. So to me, that's one of the areas. The other area which is very critical, and I think that this has come out very clear, and I think that's why Raila had to go back. When we met as a Azimio coalition, we did set some preconditions in terms of what needs to be done before we get to what we're calling national convention. And one of them was that those Kenyans who have lost their lives, can they be compensated? The second one was, those who are in the cells, can they be released? The third was, if anybody has been abducted, can then those be released also?
Yes.
So that they enjoy their freedom. And the fourth one was, in a situation where police officers acted irresponsibly, and it was just straight away that they acted that way, some of them, then can we see those police officers either being taken to court or being relieved of their duty? So that in that case then, we start healing the nation even as we move to the future. And it's on the basis of this we're saying that if that then happens, then Kenyans will have some kind of environment where we can sit down and they say, can we then talk through a national convention? And you have seen the convention there, one of the demands was that This convention should not be convened by the government, it should be convened by stakeholders. It's a stakeholders thing, which is not seen to be convened by the government, so that we don't have the government calling people to a round table, but a way should be found where people can find themselves into a round table, and then they start engaging. And these are the issues, Dibao. So when you see even the headlines say Raila here, Raila not there, because the thing is, we are getting mixed signals being sent out, and to some extent it's causing confusion. So the word enough is good because we want peace, but I think it should not be meant to mean that then we go to this, we start either shooting the Gen Zs or firing tear gases. So because this issue of violence, Dibao, you know, when you become that, we've seen the police brutality. It's something we have all been talking over many years, and I think time has come when the police service should be seen to be a service and not a force.
Indeed.
Because to some extent now we are seeing an element of them being a force.
A force, yeah.
Yes.
Let me just drop in Geoffrey Ruku, if you allow me, Senator Hilary Sigay, just to hear his voice as well. Good morning, sir. And good to see you. Right? So the ones we're hearing also from the clergy is gimmickry, political sleight of hand. So this is what the president has done, especially with the reconstitution of a cabinet, a bit of it, the 6 faces that we're seeing, that everyone is crying foul about. They're saying, oh, the president has not broken away completely from the incompetence or the incompetencies of the previous years, because this was a broad brush sort of declaration that they are incompetent, so to speak.
Dipar, we have one individual in Kenya who was sworn in as the President of the Republic of Kenya, as a symbol of unity of the Republic of Kenya. We have one individual who is the Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces of Kenya, and that is William Samoei Ruto. As he has said over the weekend, he has given room for discussions, for dialogue, for talking to the young people in the spaces which they prefer. And it seems that the problem is not about, there is more than what is being called for. And what is being called for is to remove him from office. That is the bottom line. So as the person who was sworn in as the President of the Republic of Kenya, he has a responsibility, obligation to stand by the oath of office which he took. The decisions which he's making those decisions as the head of state, as the head of government, and none of us who occupy that space. And is making those decisions for the good of the country. The Parliament, which oversights the decisions made by the executive, has a responsibility come this week and next week, once we resume tomorrow, to go through the decisions which the president has made. And if there are decisions which are not in tandem with the people, we will reject those decisions. The majority in Parliament will carry the day. And that is democracy which we have. Unless, as Kenyans, we are saying we want to have a dictator who, whatever he says, is finito.
But going by the previous events, Baruku, if we may just go by what really happened, you've not been speaking for the people. Even when the voice of the people have been loud and clear, right? There hasn't been any discordant chord with what they have been protesting. How then are we having confidence in this parliament that you'll speak for the voice of the people? How then do you restore this trust that you will speak for the confidence?
The parliament has seen
Kenyans.
The parliament has seen the power of the people. We are in that house because the people decided to take us there. So people are so powerful. And that is also enshrined in our constitution, Article 1 of our constitution. So definitely, I'm sure we will stand by what is good for the people. For instance, already there are questions as far as the nomination of Attorney General Rebecca Miano.
Yes.
Whether she's the right person to occupy that office, whether she's competent to occupy that office. We know she has been in energy sector for more than 25 years. Yes, she's a trained lawyer, but from 2010, when we promulgated the Constitution, has she been actively involved in legal matters? Does she stand to really understand the discourse, the legal discourse as far as Kenya legal fraternity and government legal issues is concerned?
Yes.
So these are difficult questions which we'll be asking the nominee when the vetting starts.
Mm-hmm.
And if she doesn't qualify, we will say it respectively to the president. That president, we respect you, we know you, we support you with every thread of our souls because we want you to succeed as our president. But we respectively go against this decision.
Disagree with it.
So these are some of the things which will be saying when the time comes as far as vetting of the nominees is concerned. So there are those who have been nominated and some of us, some of Kenya, I mean Kenyans are asking difficult questions. But you know, at the same time, a nominee like Professor Kithure Kindiki, we have seen he has performed properly. We have seen his commitment to his job. We have seen his dedication. He's extremely committed, organized, dedicated in delivering to the Kenyans as far as that docket of national security and administration is concerned. If there's someone who will be saying that Kindiki doesn't qualify for that position, then that is witch hunt, then that is not in good faith. So there are those who are qualified. There are those who we have questions. And if the questions that we will ask will be cleared properly, without any vagueness, then we will support. So we are going to be extremely objective as far as vetting of the cabinet secretary nominees are concerned. And not only the cabinet secretary nominees, any decision which is made by the president, we will be vetting, will be scrutinizing, will be oversighting, and where we feel we disagree with the president, we will respectively tell him, Mr. President, here you need to reconsider this decision. And we are doing so because we support you with every thread of our soul for you to succeed. Mm-hmm. Because we have supported the president over the years.
Thank you.
We will not stop supporting me now.
Thank you.
If we succeed, Kenya succeed. If he fails, we will all sink. If there is someone who has to be the last, remain standing, it's the president. All of us can go down. But the last person to remain standing for the sake of this nation is the president of Kenya,
right.
William Samoei Ruto. We have to give him any necessary support to ensure he remains standing. If he fails, Kenya will sink. If Kenya sinks, the entire of Eastern and Central Africa will be a mess.
Right, thank you. Let's see from Hilary Sigay. I don't know, from the legal fraternity, I know you have seen reactions regarding also the appointment of the AG. Everyone thought that maybe with the dismissal of the cabinet secretary, if at all, maybe, we'll have familiar faces coming back to some of the dockets. Professor Kithure Kindiki will have been moved to be occupying this particular office of the AG, given his background. He's been also practicing actively, and he seems to be fitting snugly, so to speak, for that particular docket. What are the reactions from your learned friends?
Thank you, Deval. First, let me just demystify the fact that appointment of cabinet secretaries is the prerogative of the president, As the president, it is his mandate under the Constitution to do so. But in the context of the current nominees who've been, whose names have already been shared to the public and they are now subject of this discourse, including what you are doing now, it is a product of some wide consultation, as the president said. And these consultations, of course, led to now the designation of various dockets to the various individuals, including the Attorney General. And we definitely had Kenyans with expectations on who should go where and why, for whatever reasons. Remember, some have been retained, including now the Honorable Professor Kithure Kindiki, who's been retained in the Interior Ministry. And there are new nominees. For instance, the Attorney General, you've said, Rebecca Miano, is a senior lawyer. And I know questions will come in the course of the vetting process. And by the way, this is the first woman Attorney General nominee. It will be history in the making to have the first Attorney General in Rebecca Miano in the Republic of Kenya. So the issue of the names who've been released by the president must have been informed by a lot of factors, including the regional balance, including expertise, experiences, and in this case, a good number of them, for those who've been retained, must have also been retained on the basis of their experience, evaluation of their performance, and all that. And this is the time now that we should be preparing as Kenyans various memoranda, various questions, evaluation tests for those who've been retained, and also for those who've been plucked from the various places of work they were in, so that when the time for vetting comes in, we deal with the issues of their ability or otherwise inability to represent the interest of Kenyans in the various sectors. In the legal fraternity, the nomination of Rebecca Miano, first of all, as I've said, has attracted mixed reactions. On the one hand, there are those who are saying this is going to be an opportunity to have the first women Attorney General for the people of Kenya. Others are saying in this 11 list of nominees where Miano is among them, it is a show of the two-third gender balance equation that we have for the longest been talking about, including the debate and the proposals which we have towards constitutional amendment to have the two-third gender principle fully implemented in Kenya. And we are seeing that that is what has indeed happened in the first cohort of the nominees. And so I'm looking forward to, I've worked with Miano previously in her previous position when she was the company secretary to the Kenya Power and Lighting Company. She was the CS to KPLC. That is the first interaction point I had with her. And as a colleague, as a profession, she's a fantastic professional. She's quite enlightened in her area of work. When she acted as an acting MD for some time, we've got also a report on her performance. And I definitely look forward to a very informing vetting process for this team that has been given an opportunity to serve Kenyans should they be approved by Parliament. And I want to urge the rest of us, whether those who are for or against, because those who've been taken back, remember, they're Kenyans, they are professionals, they have also careers to protect. And the justification of their removal was what the president said. People went out to protest, demanded changes to be done. He went out there, rejected the finance bill, dropped the confidential vote, dropped the funding to the office of the First Lady and the Deputy President's lady, as well as the Prime Cabinet Secretary, joined Kenyans and Gen Zs in X-Space to have a conversation, and among so many other things, reached out and said, look, let's have a conversation in building this Kenya. So if we are talking about you should wipe completely the entire cabinet, I mean, we should also be looking beyond just the political, rhetoric about we demand to have this, it's our way or the highway. a good number of these professionals, Dibal, who've been in cabinet positions, are solid Kenyans, men and women. They are very solid in their positions as cabinet secretaries or even professionals in the first place. And I really look forward to a situation where we will not just push a very, a mass condemnation of all of them merely because it is convenient at this political time in Kenya to say, wipe all of them. I mean, we have got Professor Kindiki, he's performed in his docket. And a good number of those other people who've been nominated have performed. So I want us to allow them the opportunity to at least also have a moment of reflection when they are being vetted, especially those who've been retained, so that we say, why, for example, have you been dismissed? Is it because you had stolen? Is it because you've been charged of a corrupt, There are those who are clean. There are those who, by virtue of the demos, they've just become victims of the demands to ask them from cabinet. Otherwise, if we were to look at docket by docket, a good number of our cabinet secretaries, those who've been nominated and those who were out there, the former, a number of them did exemplary good work. So let's allow them an opportunity.
But it doesn't matter if they did a good work or not, because it seems when the president was dismissing all of them, the overarching reason was of incompetence.
No.
Right?
Did you read the Gazette notice?
No, I didn't see the Gazette notice.
Please read the Gazette notice.
What does it say?
No, I want you to read, to understand, because if just say that they were dismissed out of incompetence, it is not.
So
it is not the
for what
basis
reasons?
And I want you to be very objective. You are a very influential person by virtue of your office. If we look at the justifications why the president dismissed them, it is not because of incompetence. He didn't say that. There is a Gazette notice, and that is why I was saying, let us allow some of these solid Kenyans who have sacrificed their professional life to serve in the position of
for the benefit of my understanding then, what was the main reason for that?
For you.
Yeah, please.
I do not want to use my own words, because I want us to speak to Kenyans.
With the Gazette notice.
So that they understand that it is not on the basis of an evaluation process that the president did evaluate and said, look, person X was incompetent or has been accused of this particular offense, and therefore I'm dismissing them. I'm just getting you to the Gazette notice in a few.
Okay.
But
you'll forward it to me as well so that I can...
definitely. What I was saying is that these men and women were not dismissed because of incompetence. They were not dismissed because of non-performance. No. And so it is supposed to be that when now they have been reappointed to the cabinet, for whatever it's worth, let's give them an opportunity to defend themselves.
Okay,
because we want to build them beyond here.
But even if I have not gone through that particular Gazette notice, because there are main reasons from the Constitution on why you should dismiss the CS. And I want to believe that when that particular Gazette notice is being printed out, is in line with what the Constitution also is demanding, isn't it? Because when you look, we don't have any... I'm just trying to chime in. Yeah, so I hope...
It is true.
Yes.
There are CSs who are incompetent. And there are those who are very competent and very hardworking. For instance, and I'm not mentioning about any CS, if you look at the effort which the former minister, Michuki, made as far as trying to transform the transport sector, and I'm not talking about the roads, I'm not talking about the infrastructure, I'm talking about the transport sector. The efforts were clear to each and every Kenyan. And it was in good faith. That was just a foundation. We have seen consecutively there's no transport minister who has built on the foundation which was laid by Michuki to transform our transport sector as a republic. Transport sector is one of the sectors in Kenya which can create millions of jobs if it is properly organized. We are missing someone at the top of the transport sector to come up with laws and also policies which can organize the sector in such a way that it's going to create more jobs, it's going to lower the costs incurred by household in terms of transportation costs. Remember, studies have been done and conducted. And it has shown that those at the bottom of the pyramid, they spend 50% of the household income on transport. That is extremely high cost. If you're earning about 30,000 per month and you're spending about 15,000 on average on transportation, it is huge. We have to come up with strategies, with policies on how to lower that cost. We have seen investors investing in transport. They invest, they come out. They invest, they come out. How can we make sure that transportation sector is rewarding, is people are able to make profit? Is it possible to have a railway rapid transit system which is investing in Nairobi Stock Exchange? Can we be able to mop resources locally instead of getting money, expensive money from foreign countries? It is possible.
But
so
I think
we need someone at the helm.
Even as Ruto tries to explain this man, I think there's a question we are not answering, and
Yes.
maybe you can help us. Are we saying that the president not have an option of sacking some of the ministers and retaining those who we assess to be competent? So that in that case, they don't have to push everybody again to a vetting process. Because I think from what Honorable is saying, I'm hearing that some of these ministers who are shown the door are competent and they're performing well.
Yes.
So what was the need of pushing them out and then bring them back again? Would it not have been wise to say, I relieve these 10 ministers of their duties and then retain those who are already doing a good job, so that in that case we don't have to go through another process of vetting? That's the question I'm asking myself. Maybe you can help us in terms of...
Now, Dibal, I got the Gazette notice. Do you want me to...
Yeah, forward it.
Thank you very much. I'm forwarding it to you in a moment. This is the Gazette notice, volume CXVI, that is number 102 of 12 July 2024, published by the Authority of the Republic of Kenya, signed by the President on the 11th of July 2024. I have just forwarded it to you.
Okay.
And there isn't any reason, or rather there isn't, let me just run it through.
It's not very clear on the reason why.
No, it's very clear.
Yeah, that's
it's so clear.
You forward it on...
I wanted to forward it to you on WhatsApp.
Okay.
And I don't know if they've seen it. Let me just do it before I run you through the Gazette itself. Because it's very important, because as a professional, from where I sit, I value hard work, I value character, and I value building and supporting careers. There we go. It's come to you, Diba.
Okay.
And the reason as to why I'm insisting on this is because we don't enjoy when people's careers are on the red line. So in this particular Gazette notice, the President says reorganization of the government of Kenya. He's listed, of course, the constitutional dictates from Article 132 running all through to 152. Of course, that is where he's getting the mandate to deal with the issue. And he says, now therefore, I, by the authority vested in me by the Constitution and the laws of Kenya, of the Republic of Kenya, do hereby order and direct. One is vacation of the appointment of the Attorney General, that in accordance with Section 12(1) of the Office of the Attorney General Act, Chapter 6A, Laws of Kenya, the appointment of Honorable Justice Justin B. N. Muturi as the Attorney General is rescinded. 2, dismissal of cabinet secretaries, that in accordance with Article 152(5) of the Constitution, the cabinet secretaries listed below have been dismissed from office as stated, namely, and he runs the list of the entire cabinet that he dismissed, of course, excluding the prime cabinet secretary. And that is where in the last Roman 3, that pursuant to Article 152(5)(a) of the Constitution, Honorable Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi is assigned as the acting cabinet secretary in all vacant ministries. Now, I wanted to take you back to the Constitution, Article 152, sub-Article 5. Article 152 is the cabinet. Now, sub-Article 5 is where it says the president may reassign a cabinet secretary, may dismiss a cabinet secretary, and C, shall dismiss a cabinet secretary if required to do so by a resolution adopted under clause 6 to 10. And of course, now running through the process of dismissal of a cabinet secretary.
Yes.
So in this particular Gazette notice, the president has not said 1, 2, or 3 of the cabinet secretaries who were dismissed was found to have been incompetent.
Yeah.
He only said, when you look at under the introductory part of that Gazette notice, the president says, mindful that this presidential prerogative, the prerogative to dismiss and appoint cabinet secretaries, is exercised by the head of state and government through the continuous review of the capacity of ministries, state departments, and state agencies to deliver on our national aspirations. He's acknowledging that when we read Article 131 together with 132, it prescribes the authority of the president. He is also cognizant of the need to make sure that we would want to equip and orientate government in implementation of its bottom-up economic model. So basically the president is saying, on the basis of the concerns raised by Kenyans in the course of these demonstrations, where one of the reasons they pushed this conversation beyond just demonstrations was, we need to make changes in your governance structure in the government. And the president said, in a bid to make sure that we have a Kenyan conversation, let me relieve these cabinet secretaries of their offices. And now we have that conversation, that consultation, including now the process of reappointment, which will be a subject of parliament. And I liked what Honorable Ruto said. Here, we are dealing with a mandate that has been donated by the people of Kenya for a term of 5 years to the members of parliament, to the members of the county assemblies, to the governors, and to the president himself. So we are looking at a situation where we are saying, we as Kenyans, though we could be having very valid reasons on some changes that we are desiring, let us allow ourselves a reasonable opportunity so that for those who are in parliament, they will be subjected to a process of vetting these people.
Let me just take you back to this Gazette notice, because of course I asked for what is the rhyme and reason why the president has dismissed the cabinet. It is not very clear from the Gazette notice, it's not been given. But if you are to answer that question, you as a lawyer, then how would you answer that question? Why did I wake up one day and dismiss you? If I ask you, Mr. President, why have you dismissed me? I've been performing sterlingly, he's not given here, and you've enumerated in the Constitution, that was Article
152.
Yes, where the reason why the President may assign a cabinet secretary, may dismiss a cabinet secretary, and shall dismiss a cabinet secretary if required to do so, the resolution adopted by under clause 6 and 10. So the reasons are here, first of all. Whereas there are serious reasons for believing that the cabinet secretary has committed a crime under national or international law. Let me begin from subsection A. On the ground of gross, let me begin here, may dismiss a cabinet, the president may reassign a cabinet secretary, may dismiss a cabinet secretary, and shall dismiss a cabinet secretary if required to do so by resolution adopted under clause 6 to 10. A member of the National Assembly supported by at least 1/4 of all members of the National Assembly may propose a motion requiring the president to dismiss a cabinet secretary on the ground of gross violation of a provision of this Constitution or any other law, where there are serious reasons for believing that the cabinet has committed crime under national or international law or gross misconduct. If a motion under clause 6 is supported by at least 1/3 of the members of the National Assembly, the Assembly shall appoint a select committee comprising of 11 of its members to investigate the matter. The select committee shall, within 10 days, report to the National Assembly if it finds the allegations against the cabinet secretary to be substantiated. The cabinet secretary has a right to appear and be represented before the select committee during its investigation. And it goes on and on. Since now this has not been made very limpid and clear in the Gazette notice, and that's why I asked, if I am to challenge the president as a cabinet secretary and ask who has been dismissed, what is the rhyme or reason for you dismissing? What will the president say? Because you say it's not incompetence, there's no gross misconduct, there is no crime that has been committed. Why did he dismiss all of them?
Debal, I'm worried that you didn't listen to me and you have not read the Gazette notice. This is what the president. Yeah,
let me go back because maybe I'm slow in understanding.
This is what the president has said.
Yes, please.
And shortly before, where he has highlighted, now therefore, I, William Ruto, he said that committed to enhancing efficiency, effectiveness, transparency, accountability in public service delivery by realigning its government structure and leadership so as to ensure rapid delivery of public service to Kenyans in every part of the Republic of Kenya, and conscious that a review and reorganization of my administration is necessary to embed operational enhancements and foster responsive governance. He is equally saying, recognizing the overwhelming feedback of the people of Kenya on the responsiveness of government in the performance of its function. The president has laid bare what he believed to have been the reasons to justify his reorganization of the government. And the only way that he decided to do it is, let me send them home. I engage Kenyans. I bring those whom I will have been given the opportunity to bring back, subject them to a process before Parliament for vetting, and we achieve these demands that the people of Kenya are asking. So, if I was a cabinet secretary, having been dismissed.
We need to tease out. That's what I'm asking.
Overwhelming feedback.
Overwhelming feedback was what?
From the
was that they are not really performing, isn't it? From the Republic. I mean, what is the president responding to? And why did the public really want?
Yes, you see
all of this, and they said all of the cabinet to be dismissed.
Yes.
That was the reason, wasn't it?
It was the reason, and that's why I'm saying
it was underperformance.
That's why I'm saying no. It was never underperformance.
I don't know how we're interpreting it here, but if you read committed to enhancing efficiency, let's just go blow by blow. Effectiveness.
Yes.
This is on the backdrop of what? The previous cabinet, isn't it? So it is a quest of a president to enhance efficiency.
Yes.
Effectiveness.
Yes.
Transparency. Accountability in public service delivery by realigning. I mean, those just words that tell you that truly.
So, Dibal, let me just wrap this up.
Let me help my brother. Let some of that we hear from Makali.
It is something, I don't want to be legalist here. You see, Dibal.
But this is all legalist. I mean, if someone really goes
that's what I'm saying. Yes. You cannot, for instance, say that this morning you have been sent home merely because of a Kenyan who was watching this program feels like you didn't deliver very well today. You go home and somebody qualifies that as incompetence, inability to deliver. It is not in law, merely because I would say that is not the standard required in law, but it cannot be a basis of saying, on the basis of the fact that there is a viewer who said Dibal did not do very well today and he's been shown the door, therefore he's incompetent. No.
You know, Dibal,
it is not.
Really, I appreciate what the senator is saying, but reading through that gazette, notice the overwhelming feedback from the public. If we can unpack that, that's where the gist of the matter is. Because the truth of the matter, Dibal, is if you are the appointing authority, although we know there are other procedures, Parliament will come and vet. And just one morning you come and say, I've looked at the efficiency of the government, the effectiveness of the government, accountability of the government, and the feedback from Kenyans, and on the basis of this, I dismiss so and so, even without plainly saying it. It means you're already putting some question mark to the existing cabinet, the ones who are now being shown the door. And that's why the Kenyans are saying, we gave you feedback that we think these people are not performing as per our expectations. On the basis of that, then you went ahead and dismissed the cabinet. And then as we await a new cabinet, then we see the new faces come back. Personally, we have worked with some of the gentlemen who have been proposed to come back, and we know them. We know they are good, they are actually competent to do the work. But the fact that some doubts were cast by sending them home, then it makes it very difficult now to even defend them when they come back. And that's what I was saying earlier. I don't know, maybe the lawyer could help us. I don't know whether the president's hands are tied to an extent that he could not dismiss part of the cabinet and retain those who he thought are doing well, the ones he has already brought back.
Because it's got some political repercussions.
Yeah, because then in that case, then we would be now discussing the new faces. Maybe that would have helped, but I don't know maybe whether the law really stops him from doing what I'm suggesting.
But we're looking, but looking at those faces, that it seems also the political dynamics have played into pacifying some of the places that these people are coming from, so to speak. All right, if you see energy, right, the people from the rifts have been pacified somehow. If you see the Ministry of Agriculture as well, Mount Kenya is still sitting prim and proper. If you see Mount Kenya, yes, at least two sides of Mount Kenya as well, education, so to speak. If you have Mr. Ogamba as well, who people are raising hesitation as well, that has been pacified. So there was a political balancing of ethnic dynamic that had to be played. And so this is what also, since you mentioned Honorable Michuki, he was talking about the lever, trying to hold the lever. Sometimes it can be quite an Herculean task to stabilize it on your hand because it's very slippery. Honorable Ruto.
The process of appointing cabinet secretary is both technical and political. And the President of the Republic, because that is his sole responsibility as the head of state and head of government, he has to balance both political as well as technical. And he because of the element of politics, we have seen cabinet ministers, cabinet secretaries blackmailing the president. And I want to say that with a lot of seriousness.
They've blackmailed?
Yes, because that is the truth. We went to Parliament and said CS Rinturi is not performing his duties as a cabinet secretary properly. The power have been with you on this show, asking me, you asked me a very difficult question. CS Rinturi is your brother. Are you going to beat your brother? And I told you yes, because this matter is about Kenya. It's not about whether you're my brother or not. It's not about whether you're my sister or not, whether you are my neighbor or not. It's about Kenyans. And we said because of that, CS Rinturi is incompetent. Because you are not able to manage your ministry properly. There is fake fertilizer. Can you come out clearly and say how this fake fertilizer started, regardless of where the buck stops? So, we have been saying this. We have been vindicated by JNCs when they say some of the ministers are incompetent. But it is true there is political processes which are a bit difficult sometimes.
But it appears
in Parliament. And this is something which those who are not inside Parliament may not understand. For us who are inside there, we understand sometimes there is political maneuvers. And because of those political maneuvers, that's how Rinturi survived. We impeached him on the floor of the House. But 11 members of Parliament went behind the walls, the committee, it is true, the standing orders of Parliament aroused that, and they brought a report saying that there is no gross violation of the Constitution. And the case ended there. So, but the majority of Parliament, members of Parliament in the National Assembly, they voted overwhelmingly that CS Rinturi is not fit to occupy the office as a cabinet secretary. That was done. So, what I'm trying to say
but I just want to interrogate, because
what I'm trying to say is, I'm telling my brother, Senator, that let's accept President is trying to do his job with a lot of energy. He has not been sleeping. He has gone in each and every, almost many nations across the world trying to push Kenyan agenda. He has gone around this country. He has put programs, but we have some lazy, incompetent managers of those programs. That we have to underline. And I have said it even in my community engagement. So, Nepal, what you are saying is, we will support President because we know he has the good intention of this country. Completely good intention for this country. But the people is going to bring on board to help him in championing the good intention for this country, in transforming this nation. Those people must be extremely competent, must be qualified, must also be of good faith in terms of seeing the transformation of this nation. They are not supposed to be lazy Kenyans. They have to work hard.
Right. But questions abound as well, as they always say, a fruit does not fall far away from its tree. Questions are being raised and are hanging on the rafters of many Kenyans on why also the personal assistant of Mithika Linturi will be appointed to be the Cabinet Secretary of Agriculture. Right? These are questions that we need to answer as well and interrogate.